This is my first time in San Clemente. One of the things that struck me right away was, oh my gosh, this other beautiful churches, incredible churches. This is one where the roots go all the way back to the beginning. Oh, the fact that you can go layer by layer through hundreds upon hundreds of years, literally thousands of years, back to the original church here. And so layer by layer, you can see that every generation, from Jesus till now, there have been Christians who have come to this place, literally to this place, to worship the Lord, to gather as brothers and sisters, to support one another. And they gave of their lives, they gave of their resources, so that we can be standing in a church, standing upon a church, standing upon a church, standing upon a church, and that comes to us today. And so there's something so powerful about the fact that here in San Clemente, we are not the first Christians to walk through these doors and to want to make something beautiful for God, that it goes all the way back, almost 2,000 years, to other Christians who came to this spot and wanted to make something and create something beautiful for God. Downstairs, we have the relics of St. Cyril, who just was one of the great missionaries, Cyril and Methodius, great missionaries to those who were like Czech, my mom's people, as well as those who are Russian, Ukrainian, that he was that great missionary who brought the gospel with his brother to those people, his relics. Here, the relics of St. Clement and of St. Ignatius of Antioch, who writes so beautifully, powerfully about the reality of the Eucharist, and that his relics are here. So not only amidst the beauty of this church and the history of this church, but the living history with the relics and its connection to saints who have been transformed by the Lord, but have also transformed this world in the name of the Lord. So I kind of got the story that originally this was a place of worship, a Christian house church. At some point, the land was taken away from those Christians and given to Romans who worshiped the god Mithras. But then what happens is, over the course of time, it comes back to the church. Over the course of time, it comes back into the hands of Christians, into the hands of Catholics. This is why it's important for us, because there's times in our culture where it seems like the culture wins. There's times in our church where it seems like the world is winning. And yet, when Christians persevere, even in dark times, Christ always conquers. And there's something so powerful about that fact that downstairs, beneath this church, there is the remains of this temple or place of worship to the god Mithras. But that worship has been conquered by the light and the truth and the goodness of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And that's something that we can all hold on to, because when it's dark, whether that be in Europe or darkness throughout the United States, it's not over, because Jesus Christ is the light who conquers darkness. I think as Catholics, particularly as American Catholics, we can sometimes forget that there are centuries and millennia of individuals and generations who have gone before us that enable us to be able to proclaim our faith in freedom. We should care about this church because this church is one of the oldest churches in Rome. Maybe it's one of the oldest churches in existence. This is part of our story. And to let part of our story collapse would be to give up on our heritage. It would be to sacrifice and forsake our inheritance. And I don't think we can do that. Even if we live across an ocean, even if you may never come to this place, this is our inheritance. This is part of our legacy. This is part of our story. If you come to Rome, you need to come to San Clemente. It is, it also, I think like St. Peter's, is one of one. I would say that you go to St. Peter's because it's massive, it's huge. There's a whole connection to the Pope, of course. But this church has something unique in it. That uniqueness, I think, is a connection to the living history, the living faith that it represents.